Okay, let me begin by welcoming everybody to our celebration today. We're here to celebrate two things, the Vision and Spirit Award winner, and it's Arnold Beckman's birthday tomorrow. So I was thinking about that a little bit. He was born in 1900, and so obviously as late in his teens, he was going through a pandemic. And I wondered, well, okay, we have some things in common with Arnold Beckman. And actually, for the students especially, you have even more in common. Because as I started looking at where he was around the time of the pandemic, he had just joined the military. He was a Marine. World War I was going on, and it came to an end soon after he enlisted. I believe that was around Thanksgiving of 1918. And that's when he began to be at the University of Illinois. And the world was still going through the pandemic of the last great pandemic before the one we're in now. So at that point, I think Arnold must have had to deal with it a little bit differently than we're dealing with it today. Obviously, we have the fortune of having the technology to be able to still hold events and carry on. And so thank you for joining us as we celebrate the Vision and Spirit Award. This is an award that recognizes somebody who shows the kind of vision and spirit that Arnold had. And it was obviously his vision to be able to make a place where incredible interdisciplinary collaborations would be possible. And that was all done more than 30 years ago. And we've enjoyed the Beckman Institute at the University of Illinois ever since. So today I'm very thrilled it's one of my great pleasures to be able to give the announcement of the Vision and Spirit Award winner. And for 2021, the winner is Martha Gillette, who's the director of the Neuroscience program and alumni professor of cell and developmental biology. And so if you wouldn't mind, I'll give you a minute to find the video and the unmute button. Let's take a moment to show our appreciation for Martha, and maybe we can snap a photo, a screenshot of everybody clapping and giving their best. So Martha, this is awesome. So let me go on and say just a few words um, about Martha, and then maybe she will be so kind as to offer a few words of wisdom to us. Uh, when choosing Martha as this year's winner, I would say it was an easy decision. Her research has been at the cutting edge of cellular and systems level mechanisms of sleep, thinking about resetting the circadian clock. And it's really underscored with a both molecular and cellular based approach. She'll be the first to tell you that she's been able to make these important discoveries with the help of other Beckman researchers and researchers from all over the university for that matter. I counted quickly 6 departments that she's collaborated with: chemistry, bioengineering, electrical and computer engineering, chemical and biomolecular engineering, evolution, ecology and behavior, and molecular and integrative physiology. But then I went digging a little deeper and I saw that the list didn't end there. And so, for example, I saw that she has had a pretty strong connection with collaborators from material science and engineering. Some of them have moved outside of the University of Illinois, but Jennifer Lewis is on that list, John Rogers is on that list, and there's many more. And and I also noted that she's one of the co-authors of a paper that has really gathered a lot of attention that comes from Beckman Institute, and it's with Gabby Popescu and the technology, the introduction of the technology SLIM that has really been monumental in getting that optical imaging off and running in new and exciting ways. Well, the idea of being able to put it to use and how that could be best utilized, I think, is why you see Martha's name on that that slim publication that came out, I believe, in 2011 or 2012. So I'm sure I've only scratched the surface, but in terms of Martha's amazing talents, I've been able to find out a little bit about what makes her collaborations so successful. I've spent time talking to her one-on-one about this. I've asked her for advice on how to cross these boundaries. And I would say that if I could sum it up, it would be her enthusiasm for learning and growing. And she's makes that contagious. She passes that on to the people around her, and those shared common goals become more than just something to pursue, but it's a collective pursuit that she's able to really engage people with. I would say, sort of to wrap that up, she's the person who has a knack for driving researchers and their research to this mode of convergence that we like to speak about. Martha's been involved in the Beckman since it was created. In fact, she even spent time with Arnold and Mabel while the Institute was in its conceptual stage. She's a full-time faculty member since 2015, and I am sure that she has big plans for the $150,000 unrestricted research funding that accompanies the Vision and Spirit Award. So once again, please join me in thanking, in congratulating Martha, and we'll let her share a few remarks.
Thank you for those very thoughtful and warm remarks. It's kind of fun to listen to you recount some of those collaborators, not all of whom come to the top of the mind, but it has just been my great fortune to have the opportunity to collaborate with so many people who are visionaries in their own right and also extremely generous with their technology. I see some of their faces in the Zoom today. And when I came to Beckman, it just really amplified my opportunities to collaborate. The ability to talk to people and plan and use new technologies is something that Beckman successfully brings to the fore. I think I wrote for Meg in a little essay I did for her release that I remember meeting Arnold and Mabel around a room with Bill Greeno and Ted Brown, and Arnold had this vision of where he wanted people to go, and it wasn't a fixed vision. It was maybe these people can work with these people, and whatever, we don't know what the future will bring. And that's kind of the approach I take to science. It's only limited by you're only limited by your technology, really. And if you can't do it today, just wait a little while, because people will develop a technology that will let you see things you could not see before. This is especially true in neuroscience, where we're just discovering what's going on in the head, in the circuit, and in the neuron. I have to say, I was so surprised when Jeff called me, and I'm extraordinarily honored because it's my pleasure to be here and to work with Jonathan and Rohit and all the other people you mentioned. We have that's the other thing, is we have a lot of fun together. And that's, I think, what makes science great, is that you take it home, you think about it, and you go, let's see, where could we go next? So I guess one of the things Meg asked me about was, how did you get into doing these kind of collaborations with engineers and physical scientists? And I remember very clearly, I was stepping down as head of cell and developmental biology after 9 long, hard years. And Rashid Bashir came to see me. He'd just come to campus, and he said, I think the engineers are going to have to talk to the biologists. Why don't we start talking? And that was the beginning of some really great interactions that I could have with engineers. And I saw the success of putting in grants with multiple investigators from different areas. So it was the right decision for me to kind of sail away from where I'd been and do some new things that were collaborative. So I especially want to thank all of my collaborators and all the people at Beckman, because successful research, it doesn't just take place in my lab or two people's lab. It's a community effort. And I am so impressed by all the complementary staff at the Beckman, in the director's office, in the business office, in the let's see, where else, the facilities, HR, everything works extraordinarily well. And I think I speak for everyone when I say we really appreciate you guys. So thank you.
Thank you, Martha. I thought I would do is give people an opportunity, since we can't come together, to share, if they wouldn't mind saying something about their interactions with Martha and how much that she has inspired them, or an event in the past that involved a collaboration, or what it's like to work with Martha writing a paper. I'd love to hear about that.
Oh,
Jonathan, I think you're looking like you're on mute. Oh, maybe we need
Yes,
to.
you have to let me unmute. It said host
Thank
will
you.
not let me unmute.
Okay, there you go.
I had one story to tell. I was director of the Biotech Center, and we wrote a Keck proposal for about 3 or 4 different new pieces of equipment, because the Keck Foundation would do new facilities. That's why we have the Keck Genome Center thing. And Chip Zukowski was the vice chancellor for research, did what he should as a vice chancellor, went out to the Keck Foundation, and he had 12 of these 2-page white papers and showed it to him. And the Keck came back and said, we're no longer doing facilities. We're only doing crazy ideas. And I'm sorry, none of these are any good. And we changed our policies about 2 weeks ago. So Chip writes an email and says, we have 48 hours to write a 2-page white paper, and it's supposed to do the following. It's not possible. I'm sorry, we can't do it. So I wrote back and said, 48 hours, no problem. And I wrote to Martha and Ralph Nuzzo and said, we have 48 hours. Let's do this crazy idea of growing cells in a microfluidic device. I'll analyze them. Martha will do this, and we'll see how they can repair. And they're like, wait, 48 hours? I said, sure, it's not that hard. And it turns out Ralph Nuzzo, Martha, and I are the perfect people to work together, because I sort of am like a 9 to 6 or 7 hour, 9 p.m., to 7 p.m. or so. I would finish this maybe 8 or 9, send it to the two of them. Martha operates at a different circadian rhythm than the rest of us. She would work on it, and usually about 3 or 4, she would send the next stage, and Ralph is just getting up and going and would finish. And so when I say it was 48 hours, it was actually 6 days of PI time, because we, the 3 of us, never meet, but we work around the clock. But that's how Martha, she always comes through on those things. I can't think of the number of times that grants have been written beyond the last minute and come through, but that was one of the, I think, the most amazing ones, because that was written probably in the fastest deadline ever.
and one of the most fun.
And it got funded. And the most fun I ever had is that it was funded at the last minute. The chancellor submitted it. And when it turns out we got the money, I got the rudest message I have ever gotten from the campus grants and contracts, or SPA, saying, this did not go through us. We cannot accept this. This is completely ridiculous. And you even gave up the ICR. How did you do this? I said, well, the chancellor submitted it. And they said, never mind. So that was also fun too. We really get to win over grant, post award when you break that many rules. Thanks, Martha. It's been a lot of fun. I did look at once, and I think we have 20 something papers in a huge variety of journals. So it's pretty amazing.
Thanks, Jonathan.
If I may say something, Jeff, first of all, congratulations, Martha. I really, this is wonderful. It's so great to see you recognized. And I think I want to echo what Jonathan said. It is so much fun to work with you. Jonathan, you still need to read the paper that you and Martha and I are writing. But other than that, I thought I should take the public opportunity to remind Jonathan. But I want to emphasize 2 things. One, Jonathan already, in more exciting detail, explained how it is like to work with Martha. So Jonathan, Martha, and I wrote in really short order a UO1 proposal to the NIH. And it was this amazing rush of creativity, right? You can imagine me now, I'm asking for full sympathy from this audience because I had Jonathan on one side and Martha on the other. And I was sort of getting crushed in the middle. So Jonathan would turn something over around 9 p.m. And I knew I had 9 to midnight to write it before I turned it over to Martha. And every time I looked at that proposal, it had moved like 20 miles further from the last time I looked at it. It was just amazing. I think we put it together in like a week or 2 weeks, something like that. Just we sent it in and the reviewers loved it. They had really nice things to say, but the score came out really strange, right? It wasn't as high a score. The comments were much better. And Jonathan, I think, said, you know, it is not going to get funded. And I said, yeah, you know, it's not. And Martha said, no, wait a minute, look at the comments, you know, don't look at the score. And sure enough, we got it funded and it was so much fun. We're still writing papers from that grant. It's been over for a little bit, but.
We had to call and they actually asked for extra money and they reached down to fund ours because they said it was completely unique. And so that's a scary thing that happens when they say, here's the group that are funded. And then there's this really weird one that makes no sense that will fund anyway. And so that was us. And that's what happens with Martha.
Amazing. I think the final thing I would say is something Jonathan said to me and as advice to a young upcoming, I think I was an assistant professor at that time. He said, if you write the paper, it will go to analytical chemistry and it'll do fine. But if you get Martha to write the paper, it's going to go to science. And I said, you know, so I think I would leave everyone with that and congratulate Martha. Thank you for your excellence. Thanks for being a great colleague. It's amazing to work with you and congratulations again.
Well, thank you. Thank you. The feeling is mutual. I think you see why these things work.
Thanks, Rohit.
Rainer, it's your chance.
Please take the microphone. There you go. Okay.
Well, okay. Well, you know, Martha started out in my lab, and she started out working on the equipment, and she did something amazing. She'd been working for a while, and we'd been learning neuroscience together. And she began working on the circadian rhythms, and she finally did an experiment that was so brilliant and so well interpreted that I thought, she's independent now. And then she wrote a grant and took off, and here she is now. I'm proud of her, and it's been a wild ride.
Thanks so much. Well, Martha, I think it's easy for you to listen to that and now understand both the choice and of your selection for the award, but maybe even more importantly, why Beckman Institute is a better place because you are here with us. So thank you so much for being who you are and bringing it all to the Beckman Institute. And we're just thankful that we will look forward to what comes next.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I look forward to what comes next too. We have some big plans, as you know.
All right. And the last thing I should say, let's see. Well, if you didn't pick up your cupcake, hopefully go get your cupcake and get ready for our the Smith Group lecture, which is going to start in about 40 minutes.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thanks for everything, Martha.
My pleasure. It's been nothing but fun.
Congratulations. We'll see you guys all soon at the lecture.
Okay. Bye.